Good morning, gardening friends. It's Sunday, it's time for another update. But first, I need to tell you a little story. For those that have been watching these episodes of the Budget Garden, you know that at the end I always encourage you to try and stay safe as much as you can in the midst of this whole COVID crisis. Well, last week I had a bit of a scare. I stepped out of my bubble, so to speak. The people, I'm living here with my parents, and pretty much the only people that I meet up with are my neighbor who I walk with and my brother's family who comes over to visit. And that's pretty much the entire bubble. As long as none of us get sick, then these are the only people that we associate with. It keeps family together. There is one more brother who lives up in San Francisco. I'm down here in LA. He's not able to come down, and that creates its share of problems. But anyway, I stepped out of my bubble. Aside from going to the supermarket and things like that, and I'm always wearing a mask when I'm out, except when I'm doing yard work. But I'm the only one doing it, so there's nobody around for me to infect or to infect me. And I basically had I'm just kind of showing you the neighborhood while I tell you this. I had an appointment with the dentist for a cleaning that was scheduled right about when all of this started. And so I decided it's been a year since my last appointment. It's time to get things back on track. Stepped out of the bubble. Dentist had real careful considerations. Going in, walking into the building, they take your temperature, and then you go upstairs to the actual dentist's office, and they would take my temperature again, and everything was free and clear. Everything was good. Show you the side yard here. And then their plan was, call me a couple days after the appointment, make sure that nothing's actually wrong, that I haven't gotten sick, so that I haven't exposed them and they haven't exposed me. Well, a couple of days later, I started not feeling so great. I told them, why don't you give me another day, let's see if this gets worse. And sure enough, that night, I came down with a case of the shakes like I've never had before. For about a half hour, I had the shakes. I had rapid breathing. I won't say shallow breathing. It wasn't like I had trouble breathing. It was just because of the shakes. And it was pretty bad. And so it scared me. And so the next day, I talked to them. I told them what happened. I then went and scheduled an appointment for a COVID test, which I couldn't get same day. I had to go next day for that. And I did. I went and I got the test, and I had to wait a few days. Fortunately, the test came back negative. So, I'm okay, but it was a bit of a scare. So, when I say, please, do what you can to protect yourselves, I mean it. A lot of people just don't seem to understand the mask is not about protecting yourself. It's about protecting you and the people around you, because if you've got this thing, then it will aerosolize. When you breathe, you're spreading it. So having the mask on helps block it, and that will help protect the people you love. So please give that some consideration. Now, let's get on to the actual updates, which obviously if I spent the week inside, I didn't get to doing too much. One polka dot plant is looking okay, a few dead leaves. The other one's suffering right now. I'll give it some water. Plumeria is doing good. The nasturtium is doing well. I need to pull some weeds out of that. Ultimately, I'm thinking about moving the plumeria, but unfortunately this week it's going to get hot again. This is Southern California for you, but let's move on over here. The Swiss chard's looking okay. Again, some dead leaves I could pick. I believe I planted some, planted some seeds in here. I'm trying to remember what I put in there. Maybe I'll have to go back a couple of videos and look at what I actually said there. Nothing in the white ones. I cleared those out and I haven't quite figured out what I'm going to do yet. Come on over here. It looks like the celery's doing okay. It looks like we've got some weeds growing in here, but then we got the bean plant. Yeah, we've still got ants, and I've been meaning to just get real close up there, and I'll be able to look at this later and see if I see signs of other. I can see a spot back there that'll be a really good example. So hopefully that'll focus. And I can look and see if there's aphids under those leaves, because if that's what it is, then that's why the ants are here. But ultimately the plan on these is these boxes are pretty much clear. I'm going to plant nasturtium in here because the ants don't like nasturtium. This is something I looked up, so that's what I'm going to do with that. And then over here in the backyard, we've got the cherry pick pepper. There's one pepper on there. I don't know if you can, there it is. There's a couple more that are growing, so that's good. We've got another, I believe that's a cherry pick pepper that I'm starting to grow there, so that's good. I think I planted in both of them and only one of them took. But I can also see weeds, so I've still got more to do. The nasturtium here is doing well. Interesting though, there's nasturtium here and there's ants there. So maybe I need to put them in the same soil, I don't know. Maybe it's when the flowers come up. Either way, planting more nasturtium is not a bad thing. The Roma tomato plant is not looking wonderful. I think I'm just going to have to cut it way back and see if that helps, because I'm not seeing any progress for the last few weeks. Look at this basil plant growing in the tomato. That's just amazing how big that's getting, those leaves, compared to this basil plant and the basil plant behind it. But along with this basil plant, I've also got the peppers growing, and these are the giant Marconis. Hopefully you can see that one there. I pulled a ton of them off of here yesterday. I guess while I was not feeling well, whatever that was, they grew, or they ripened. So I was quite happy with that. Oh wow, there's a big one right there. And so I'll show you pictures. And so that's what that's looking like. These peppers here are getting a little bit bigger. There's one that's much bigger back in there. So we'll see what happens with that. So overall, the garden's doing well. I'm doing well. And I hope you're doing well. So again, like I keep saying, wear a mask, protect the ones you love. And this is the Budget Gardener signing off saying, may your thumb be green.